Everyone, I'm Greyshot17.
And I'm Allison.
Yes, so we are going to be reviewing and do it through a tier list all the films we saw in 2023. I would have done this sooner, but I kind of lost my voice, so we kind of had to delay it. But we did catch a few movies while I was sick. There's a couple that is not going to be on our tier list. We might watch, if we watch it later, I'll add it in post, but that'll be Tetris. But we still have 40 films to get through. I'll make sure we keep things brief and go through about each for about a minute. The first movie is a movie that, again, for those of you who may not know, my girlfriend is kind enough, amazing enough to get early screenings to some films. And this was one of them. This is Shotgun Wedding. How was the film?
It was, I didn't think it was that bad. It's kind of fun. It's a fun film.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Except for me, everything was sort of generic between, unfortunately, the guy who's in Callisto Protocol, he can't catch a break, and then also, what was the bride?
J-Lo?
J-Lo, thank you. I thought she's been better in other things, especially given, the standout performance is the woman from White Lotus. And she does such an amazing job there, and here it's like, wow, you were trying to save this movie. I would personally put it under kind of mid, though, again, under this tier list, we have to agree with where we place a movie, except for our best of the year. There'll be one movie each, and we can place it up there, and we can't. And there's also a veto that each of us can do. So if we don't like the other's opinion, we can do a veto. And each of us get, I would say, because there's 40 films, each of us get 2.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so I would put it under kind of mid. Where would you put Shotgun Wedding?
Well, it does have Channing Tatum in it.
No, it doesn't.
It does?
No.
I thought it was the one with Channing Tatum.
No, that's the... Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
That's not Channing Tatum. That's The Lost City is Channing Tatum.
I got him.
That was the year before. This is the one where they go to a wedding and there's a scene where they...
Right! Okay, now. There wasn't J-Lo in the other one, too.
No.
No, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock was in that. Already off to a great start.
Well,
it
was the beginning. It was, like you said, the first movie of the year.
Yep.
Now I'm remembering it is mid. Yes, you're right. It is. Mm-hmm.
So, and we may change this as we go on, but right now we'll keep it there. Creed 3. I really enjoyed this movie. Michael B. Jordan was fantastic in it, and as a director, I thought he did a really good job being his first directorial film. Had a great sense of style. Love all the anime references, which is a weird thing. I never thought, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But here's the thing: I'm not the biggest fighting fan, but I still thought I had a really good time in it. And also, again, the performance is so elevated. If the story is kind of more generic, I don't know if I would watch it again. Where would you put it? I would kind of put it under good.
Good. Yeah, I think so. And this is my first Creed movie anyway.
Yes.
So, before first Creed movie, it's excellent.
I've seen Creed and Creed 2, and I've also seen the Rocky films, although it's been a long time. I might move it to great, but right now I'll put it at the top of good.
I can agree with that.
The next movie we have on our list is The Color Purple, which is one of the more recent films we saw. It's been so long since I've seen the original. Even then, I kind of just remember it because it has Oprah and... Sorry, the cat's here. Even though I have problems with this movie because some things don't make sense, and I was some things I feel like are not explained enough, and some things are. The performances are all fantastic. That's the thing I can't deny, and the music is also really good. What do you think, Kirby? Oh, thank you. What do you think of it?
I did like it, and I didn't even see the original of this one either. Mm-hmm. But, for this one, I think, other than the confusing time jumps, I think it was pretty great. The actresses did a great job. I don't know if I would watch it again. That's one thing. I don't see myself watching it again. And
that's the thing why we rank this is because there might be a better film, but it might not be something to where it's it doesn't stick. So it might be have a higher critical rating or a lower critical rating, but I don't think it's something that necessarily watch again.
Fair.
So for me...
Yeah, I like the movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I'd see it again or have interest in seeing it again.
All right. What about Guardians 3? This is an emotional gut punch because, again, we'll be talking about spoilers for all these movies. All the animals die, and it's emotional for the backstory and stuff like that. But I thought that the overall character journey for all the Guardians was good. I like the fact that, again, it was more Rocket's story, which I was not expecting, but I thought they did a really good job. Bradley Cooper, again, nailed that role. I know it's weird he nailed a raccoon, but I thought he did a really good job as the raccoon. I think right now I would put it in... I think great.
It's going to be on great.
And we'll go from there. And yourself?
I would leave it at great. It is emotional. I agree with that. And I definitely like Gamora's sister. She's fun.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Nebula.
Nebula. I loved her, and I can relate to her a little bit.
The character arc on Nebula is one of the most, amazing things from the MCU. Another, really great film, Air.
That was surprising for me.
I was shocked by how much I liked Air.
Me too.
I think it has a lot of charisma, and I think a lot of the actors bring it. Viola Davis is great. It's weird how it doesn't go into Michael B. Jordan's... sorry.
Right, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, sorry, not Michael B. Jordan.
I was like,
Michael
wait.
Jordan. Again, I might watch this again. I still think it's a great film. Where would you put it?
I would say I would give it great. I mean, again, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, I love any story about business, and that's kind of why I like watching the morning show too.
Yeah.
But
a great show. Please check that out.
Yes, but I would put it as great. Yeah.
Okay. Now we have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, which apparently they're not doing Part 1, Part 2 anymore. They're just going to give it another title because they didn't do it great. I thought the action sequences in this movie was fantastic. I thought a lot of the characters brought it. The biggest I thought the opening sequence with AI and all that stuff with the submarine was really well done. The train sequence is great. There's a lot of great action sequences, but emotionally I wasn't necessarily that... Even when a character died, there is a character death in this that is instrumental to the series, and it's it didn't... I mean, it felt like, okay... tension to get there, but I wasn't like, oh my god, they killed off. So I do give them credit for killing off a character. And again, I still think it's a good movie. I know a lot of people in our friend group was more mid on it, but I really respected this movie. What about yourself?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, okay. And that should get into some things, because there's some movies that she saw, and there's some movies that I saw, but we saw majority of them together, such as, I believe, Love in Taipei.
Oh, it's about a girl. Her parents sent her to Taipei to learn more about her culture. And she ends up kind of falling in love with two guys, although, of course, it's the trope of one guy's not that great. And she just didn't see the other guy until after she realized the first guy wasn't that great. Unlike To All the Boys I Loved Before, which I've seen multiple times, I don't think I would see this one again. It was a cute movie, don't get me wrong, and it had good parts, but I think it had a lot of tropes in it, as any love story would.
So you would put it in good?
Yeah, I would put it in good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put it there. Next one is Family Switch, which is another film that you saw. What's Family Switch? What are the positives and negatives with it?
Freaky Friday. It's basically a Freaky Friday Christmas movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it good?
No. It was bad. My dad was like, "You should watch it," and I was watching it by myself, and I was like, "This is all very awkward. It's cringy. It was so very awkward." I watched it for Christmas because it was supposed to be a Christmas movie, but it was super, super awkward. So I would say maybe I think there's some people that like watching cringe. And some cringe is good.
Yes,
so.
I mean, I have cringe right up here, yes.
Yeah.
But, but you know what's not cringy that I thought was going to be cringy? Wonka. Wonka was a genuine surprise for me.
Did you really think it was going to be cringy?
Well, it's the director of Paddington, but sometimes the director will be given a bigger budget film and they just aren't allowed to bring their style. And I thought he brought an absolute sense of style to this film. I thought that overall, it was a good pacing, really funny, overall good story, and actually a little bit emotional toward the end. Again, I would put it great or amazing. I'll probably put great for right now.
I thought you would put it in amazing because I thought I could see that as one of your favorite films. I thought it was amazing. I personally thought it was amazing.
We'll put it up in amazing for right now. Again, speaking of films, The Holdovers, which was a film that, again, there was a lot of positive buzz about it, so I already knew that. I was surprised because I thought the movie was going to go in very different directions as it went on, but it did its own thing rather than going down a more, I don't want to say tropey, but kind of more just something that's very familiar, or something that would be a very easy ending, which this movie doesn't. It has definitely a more like gut punch ending. Paul Giamatti, I thought he was really good. I thought the three main leads were all great. I had a really good time. I wouldn't say it was like an emotional punch for me like some others, but I might watch it again. I would still put it up on that list.
For me, there were some aspects of it that was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
So I would say I think I would only watch this once. It wasn't bad, but yeah. I don't see myself.
I think the characters bring it up for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to use my veto and put it up in great. Okay. So I have one remaining. All right. Well, I might take it here in a second. Your Place or Mine. This is a film where you have someone who switches places with another person because that person's taken some type of exam. And was it Reese Witherspoon? Mm-hmm. I felt this was such a nothing movie. This was not funny. I thought that the education part was going to come into it with Reese Witherspoon, but it didn't. I understand what this movie is going for, but I just felt it failed in every aspect because I didn't care about anything, because I felt like everything was just handed to the characters.
Well, I mean, I still kind of like it because, you know, I thought it was cute. It was, again, like my feelings about the holdover. It was a bit slow and there was no action, but I still think it had some redeeming aspects, like the cutesiness, as I call it. So I would say probably between mid and bad.
I'll put it in this is bad because I can't think of a positive about it that other films haven't done better. But I also wouldn't say that it has nothing, because it's not terrible. It's just more painfully generic that hurts to watch. Speaking of which, you didn't watch this, Transformers. No. This is the next Transformers film. This is hard to explain. It's better than a majority of the Michael Bay Transformers films, like 2 through 5. This is better than. Mm-hmm. The problem is, it's better, but that doesn't make it good or great. It has some good effects. The villain is just one note. I like the human characters in it, and I thought their story was fine. If there wasn't the other movies, I feel like this would be like, oh my god, they actually nailed Transformers. But because of everything they've done, the MacGuffin plotline, all this stuff, it just kind of feels like repeated. The beasts don't really get fleshed out, and that's the main drive is, hey, look at these, different group of Transformers that are beast-like in their transformation. And then you have, like, the scavenger, stuff like that. Unicron's good. Like, there's definitely good aspects to it. But, again, the story and everything is so generic. I would kind of place this in kind of mid. What about Super Mario Brothers?
Super Mario Brothers? Again, another... I'm a big fan of cartoons, and this one I just loved. I loved it. The brotherhood, the action, everything.
It had a good set. Again, I only have a couple negatives. The negative would be I don't like the 80s songs in it. I don't know why they couldn't include... because they have Mario's music. And they apparently cut it from the film to include some of those. Also, Bowser, Jack Black was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really well done. The animation's really solid. Again,
the actors.
Yeah, Chris Pratt was. A lot of people were giving him were pushing him down, and I thought it was fine. Again, he's a voice actor. He's been in a Lego movie and stuff. He's fit in a lot of good roles. Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna fit as Garfield. But
that one's gonna be interesting.
But again, I thought this was good. Again, for me, it definitely was also like when Luigi and Mario come together. It's like, okay, that's perfect. Yeah. It's playing it safe, but if you know the background, it makes perfect sense why they played this movie safe. But they nailed a property that has not been nailed in decades, and for that, I would put it probably in great. Where would you put it?
Great. Yeah. Honestly, I would watch that again. I'm not a big video game fan, but that was an awesome movie.
No One Will Save You. This was the Hulu movie that came out. The entire film, there's only like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue.
Oh, I know which one that is. Oh,
yes.
No, yeah.
So, the problem is, it wasn't scary, and it's billed as being like a horror movie. It's The ending is definitely like, wait, it feels like an episode of it feels like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
The film does work in the sense of it being a movie without dialogue. You get everything for the most part. There's aliens and stuff that I don't understand this alien sort of hierarchy or how things work or anything like that, because none of it makes sense to me. This is definitely like one of those movies that I would never watch again at all, but I respect it. If that makes sense. I respect for what it was aiming for and the way it was shot and the effects for such a low budget. I respect it. I'm never going to watch it again, but I can, at least that's me. What about yourself?
Yeah, no, you can tell it's low budget for sure, 100%. I would not watch this again. I was very much not into it. And I know this is nitpicky, but the lack of lines, I would do avoid, honestly.
Really? You're that low?
Yeah, I did not like it. I don't know if you could tell.
It's funny because I would put it in. I respect the filmmaking of it, even if I would never watch it again. So I put in good.
I'm gonna use my veto for this. So sorry.
Aw. All right, she put it there. Fast X. All right, so I watched this. This is a film that I wouldn't recommend. It's another Fast and Furious film, and it continues the downward trajectory. It's funny how they're like not superheroes, but Vin Diesel's pretty much the superhero at this point. There's some good action sequences, but I wouldn't suffer through this because it feels bloated. It feels like hey, we have all this money, let's put it on screen. And there's some good shots, but there's some like, I don't care. You have this whole action sequence and you could have cut it and just moved on. And then added more character stuff and more interesting stuff, but you don't. And then I don't think it's god awful, but I would put in this as bad. What about the bar mitzvah? You are not invited to my bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah. It's a
bar mitzvah. Sorry.
I do like the films, of the people in high school going through live films. So I mean, it's not great.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, genuinely. Yeah. And there's some very cringe-worthy moments.
Oh, speaking of cringe, yeah.
Yes. But I thought Adam Sandler was pretty good as the dad. I thought the whole family was pretty well done.
Literally, his whole family's in there.
Yeah, yes. But I was going to say, the main character is Adam Sandler's daughter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had a good time. I'll put it under good.
I can agree with that.
Asteroid City.
Oh my gosh.
This is weird. I felt this one was more weird than it needed to be. But the thing is, I don't think I was necessarily attached. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's still pretty good in terms of what it's conveying, the story and a story layers to it. And I thought the actors brought it for what roles they had. Like, there's some good funny jokes with like Bryan Cranston showing up being like, oh, this is my scene and leaving, and you're like, wait, what the heck? Or like all the scenes with Steve Carell. It's similar to No One Will Save You, where I can respect the filmmaking, I respect the goals, but I wouldn't watch it again.
I definitely respect this one more than No One Will Save You, but I was mostly there for the aesthetic. The aesthetic, the set was amazing. Mm-hmm. I loved it. And I mean, even if I don't care for the movie that much, the set just got my attention. So I would say maybe kind of mid, right?
It's like, I think there are better Wes Anderson films to see. Okay. So I would put it under kind of mid. That's fair.
That's fair. Okay.
Zoe 102. This is a movie sequel to Zoe 101, a sequel that I never thought I would see. That is a thing. And I will say the ending, being the fact that there is a serial killer, did make me laugh. That genuinely made me laugh, that there was a serial killer. Beyond that, I thought this was very generic, but I thought the actors were at least having a fun time. This is completely avoidable, but I don't think you'll hate yourself if you watch it. I would put it under kind of mid.
I found it pretty nostalgic. I mean, I grew up with Zoe 101, obviously.
I mean, I did too, yeah.
And honestly, I think this movie did better than the iCarly reboot, which got canceled, by the way. Yeah.
It did.
So, I mean, yeah, it does open. I didn't like the ending, but maybe there could be a part 2 to this movie that will hopefully complete it, but we shall see. So, for the nostalgia, I'll do kind of mid.
Cocaine Bear. This one's weird because there are genuinely some great laughs in this movie. And again, but there's also some stuff that did not need to be here. Absolutely. Like, there's sequences in this movie with the bear where it's like the bear is going after like people from out of the country, and I'm like, the guy almost looks like Tommy K. If I swear to God, the cartel getting the drugs, I thought that plot line worked. I don't think the mom looking for her kids, I don't think that plot line worked. And also the cocaine bear chasing the ambulance, that whole sequence, I thought was hilarious. But there's some scenes that got ruined in the trailer. It doesn't, once the ambulance sequence is done, it doesn't get much better than that. And the ending I thought was okay. Again, when it's funny, but sometimes it needed to be more comedic in my opinion, rather than trying to be serious. And I feel like it didn't strike that balance. So to me, it was one of the more disappointing films. It has one great sequence you can watch on YouTube, but I think I would put under this as bad. What about Nimona?
Nimona was great. I don't think it. I think it should have been in theaters, not just on Netflix. I think it was good.
There's a reason for that. Originally, it was made by Blue Sky, and they were in development of it. But when Blue Sky was when Fox was bought by Disney, Disney shuttered the studio because they didn't, supposedly, they didn't like the next project that they were working on, which was Nimona. They're like, nah, we're going to incorporate you into other animation teams. This project's not financially, it won't survive. So that apparently another animation team helped fix it up, and Netflix took it and distributed it. That's why my one gripe is some of the quality of the animation in terms of the textures is not as good as it possibly could be, because I think that they were stopped and they weren't finalized. They just kind of pushed out what they had to wrap it up, which still works because I thought the story was really good. And the style to it and that I think helps elevate even if the textures aren't necessarily there, because the medieval futuristic setting is super cool. Nimona herself is a great character.
Yeah, production company didn't do this movie justice.
Yeah, well, luckily Netflix saved it, and I'm glad it got released.
Thank you, Netflix.
When Super Mario came out, I'm like, this is great, and then Nimona came out, I'm like, this is great. And we'll get to another film on this list, but there's been a lot of great animated films this year. Yeah. I would easily put this in great.
Can I argue for amazing?
You could argue for amazing. I'll leave it there for right now.
I know the animation you disagree with, but
the
story is good.
No, I think the textures that doesn't necessarily change anything. I thought the story was, again, it felt like a Pixar film.
Yeah.
Not from Pixar, and that's probably the biggest compliment I can give. Okay. Next up, we got Dungeons and Dragons. I saw this film twice. This was an unexpected delight. This is so funny. My only thing is, like, I don't think there's anything it does so exceptionally well that I don't think I've seen elsewhere. It has great heist sequence. There's a one-track shot with the animal running away. And I thought it nailed all the characters. And I was shocked by, how funny it is. There's a very bad CGI moment on purpose that looks incredible and is one of my favorite moments of the year. It's like, it nails nearly everything it was trying to go for. And I thought the actors and actresses each brought it and just had a really damn good time.
As someone who doesn't really play Dungeons and Dragons, I had fun with this movie. Yes. It was hilarious, yes, and I love the actors, the characters. Hugh Grant, of course.
Oh my God, yes.
Hugh Grant was great at his role. I can tell you that.
It's great. Hugh Grant also in Wonka, also hilarious in there.
Oh yes,
this was
true.
A very good year for Hugh Grant for being memorable scenes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so next up for, again, something I did not expect to like as much as I did. Barbie. Barbie it's fantastic. But, like, a lot of people complain, but I think the movie nails everything it's going for. It's really funny. The music is fantastic. The actors bring it. Ryan Gosling, I hope he wins Best Supporting Actor. He should, because he is so good. Margot Robbie does a really good job with a character that doesn't know what she wants to be, and then eventually slowly determines what she wants to be. again, it can be very cheesy, and again, it's very heavy-handed with some of its themes, but I also think they're a bunch of dolls, so they have to be heavy-handed. You are the one who's like, no, you have to see this.
Well, because it was going to determine our relationship, because a lot of girlfriends broke up with their boyfriends over this movie, and I was, because they didn't like it or didn't care for it, because some of it, like Greyshot said, is heavy-handed themes, but I mean, I think they made it fun, and to get, society to understand what some of the issues are.
Yeah.
And I was kind of disappointed when I heard one of my family members left in the middle of the movie because it was too pink, and I was like,
the set design and everything in this movie is incredible.
Yeah, but she said it was too pink, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's very pink, but she missed the point of the movie. I mean, while the set designs were great and stuff,
yeah,
I was more focused on the point, the story.
When you have movies like, and again, I'll put it on this list where we'll get to Little Mermaid or some other films where it's all CGI in the background and they don't shoot any on it doesn't feel like a shot on location. We'll get to another movie here in a second, but I felt it did a great job making it feel like that world exists compared to other films, like, and especially when you compare it to a genre like Hop, like Smurfs, like even I guess Enchanted would probably be the best in that genre. Even then, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But this is easily the best of it.
Yes. So I'm gonna test you. Where are you putting this?
So I don't think some of the jokes hit, and for me, the emotional core didn't resonate with me. I would put but again, the music is something that, I wasn't expecting these songs to resonate with me, but they're very good. And again, I enjoy listening on the radio, as she can attest. So even I'll put up the I'm Just Ken song just because it's so good. So I probably put it under great. What would you put it?
Amazing, of course. Because I guess like you said, you felt like you couldn't relate to it a little bit, but I think I could, and I had a good understanding. So.
That's fair. Yeah. We can leave it there for now. We'll see. Again, we'll organize this in a second. So next up, Godzilla Minus One. Oh my gosh. It's absolutely my favorite film of the year. This is my favorite. To put in perspective for you, like, oh, you're a Godzilla fan, right? You have Godzilla stuff over here. You've got, behind me. Wait, down here. It's just like one of those things where it's like, of course you're gonna like it. No, my top 10 movies of a couple years, Shin Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters were on neither of them. They were honorable mentions. This is, in my opinion, the best film of the year. It had insanely good characters. It had really good CGI. It had a great story. It had likable characters. It had a great soundtrack, great score, great sound, like just everything about it. I was just like blown away by. And everything was done exceptionally well. It doesn't matter if it's in Japanese. I thought the characters were so impactful and resonated with me even when leaving the theater that I'm like, I don't think any other film has had me cry like it did at the end of the movie. I was weeping in tears, both at the potential death of some people and the final shot and the final moments. Because again, it's like, oh, it's a happier moment, but you think about it, it's like, no, there's still going to be trauma. There's still going to be issues. And Godzilla is terrifying in this movie. He is threatening. He does not care. And I love how people call him like more the asshole Godzilla. But to be fair, this Godzilla is that because you care about the human characters and he purposely is just an animal. And I love how he's so destructive. And the atomic breath sequence is great. The heavy cruiser sequence where he fights that. And it's like, oh yeah, they got him. And this movie has some really good laughs to it too. The captain being like, we're going to take on Godzilla. Godzilla kills the ship. We're getting out of here. And just beelining it. I'm like, okay. And also that sequence, like almost reminiscent of Jaws and everything. Like, and it takes in so much from other Godzilla movies, from his regeneration, from his like what the creature that Godzilla originates from, all that stuff. I love this movie. I would have probably saw it again in theaters, and she knows it. I already saw it twice. I brought her to see it, and she's already more mixed on Godzilla films. She probably would rate most kind of mid. Although we're enjoying Monarch right now.
Oh, Monarch, for being a Godzilla and Monsters movie, is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where, if I didn't put it best of the year, where would you put it? Where for you? Where?
Good.
You put under good.
It's one of the better Godzilla movies. So.
Okay.
Yes, I put it under good.
Okay. And again, you were more, like kind of like me with Barbie. You were kind of surprised by like what it was able to do.
Yeah, for sure. I guess what you feel for Godzilla is what I feel for Barbie.
Yes, that's
I
fair.
think that best describes it. Yeah.
All right. And again, I'm curious to see what your favorite film of the year is. Because Godzilla Minus One is easily the one. I'm so happy that it's not just Godzilla fans. So many content creators and people I've seen put it on the movie in their top 5 of the year, if not top like 3, 2, and I am shocked. So I am so happy. I'm so glad this movie's doing so well. I cannot wait to get it on 4K Blu-ray. I'm happy to be a Godzilla fan. But you know what I'm not happy about? The Black Demon. I watched this film. This movie has terrible CGI, a nonsensical plot. It's in one setting, but I never felt the tension of this. I fell asleep during part of this because I was so bored by it. And it's not because I was tired, trust me. I wasn't. It just bored me to tears. I would put this under avoid. This does such a bad job at being a monster film and having any sense of tension, drama, or anything that I just couldn't care less. So for me, you didn't watch this. I watched it while you were away.
Thank God.
This movie is so bad, I didn't watch The Meg. And that movie's not good from what I hear. But I could have watched The Meg too, and I didn't watch it because of this film. So, thank you, Black Demon, or not, but yeah. Elemental. And I went in, and I'm like, okay, this will be kind of like Zootopia. But I don't think that's... I think that might be an initial impression, but I think that's a wrong assumption, correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I like this more. I didn't really care for Zootopia, but I like this way more. As a child of immigrant parents, this movie kind of had sentimental value too.
Yeah.
At least for me. And I think, as you saw, the father kind of had something similar to my own dad. And so that's why this one is more like familiar, more sentimental. Just what she goes through in her life as well. So I think for me, it would be a great film. What about you?
I would also put in great. I think this is Pixar back to... You were worried that I was going to put it lower?
Honestly, yes, because I don't know. I couldn't gauge how you were feeling after the movie, and I know why I relate to this movie, but I don't know if you kind of how you felt about Barbie. I couldn't relate to this, but you know.
No, I get it. No, I liked it. And again,
Okay.
I felt like this is Pixar kind of returning back to being like, hey, we're making either pretty good or above films. We're not doing Lightyear. Lightyear, I didn't care for. This I really enjoyed. And also as a government employee, when they're like, oh, the government will fix this, I'm like, sure. And then immediately you saw the government's response, I'm like, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect in terms of how things how things play out. I'm like, yep.
Well, be honest. Did you see a little bit of my dad in that?
Oh, yeah, yes, I saw your dad, 100%.
And did you feel like you relate to the couple a little bit, too?
Yes, I felt like I related to the couple. So I would put this under great. We're going to organize these into kind of how we would place them a little bit later, but yes, I would put it under great. John Wick, I would also put under great. And I felt like this film, the biggest issue is it's long. It's maybe a bit too long for its own good, but I was still pumped. The action sequences are amazing. They keep things fresh even after 4 films. The dragon breath sequence where it's shot done over the head was so well done. The whole sequence with the stairs, I know it's over the top with him falling down, but him going back up, I'm like, this is absolutely perfect. I really enjoyed this. There's a great dog in this movie and a great tracker character. I thought, again, I love John Wick as well because they bring in all these side characters that are so interesting. I would put this under great, maybe even amazing. Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. I would absolutely put this amazing. Truthfully, this was my number 1 film of the year before Godzilla Minus One came out. Then Godzilla Minus One took that spot. I love the animation. I love the character arcs, the journeys. I love the villain. and multiple villains in this, or maybe anti-hero, but like I love the dynamic of that, all that stuff. I love Gwen Stacy in this movie. I thought she was really layered, had some good stuff. The cameos in this from games and movies and stuff like that. I never thought Spectacular Spider-Man would ever get any representation again because Disney buried that. But the fact that this is here and they actually gave him a line, I'm like, oh my god. Like, it's like they do so much. I know a lot of people who are like, that's my favorite Spider, like the Spider-Man games on the PS5. Like, he shows up in this. He doesn't much. He's just a cameo. But also the whole situation with Donald Glover, like that has so much depth to it that I'm so happy he's in this movie. But again, Miles' journey is so good. I love the acting in it. I easily think the soundtrack is fantastic, and like this film should easily be Best Picture. But potential. I also think Godzilla Minus One is Best Picture at the Oscars, but I think this is a better shot of getting there.
Yeah, I love the animation. I love what they did with the animation. Honestly, I would choose this over Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the story was also great, and I can't wait for them to continue the story. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just ends, and everyone in the theater's like, "What?" And it's
Even
like,
me.
even Allison's like, "No, this can't be." And I'm like, I knew that was coming, but I didn't realize how much I want. Like, this is a 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel it at all. There's another film that we're about to talk about that I felt. This movie I didn't feel at all. I would easily watch this again just for all the animation and all the things like that.
Yeah.
So, we will put Spider-Man right now in Amazing. Because I absolutely would watch it again.
Oh, I would too.
All right, so Oppenheimer. I felt that the acting and everything in this film was great. The pacing was insane, but in a good way because it kept going. And it didn't like hold your hand, but it covered so much material. My issue with Oppenheimer is I don't think the last third is as good as the first 2/3. And that's because, not necessarily because I don't like a court setting, or how it was shot, or the acting involved. Like, I thought Murphy was great in it, but I don't think the payoff for that is worth it, because I feel like you could have wrapped that up in like half the time. Because we already know the outcome of that case. In the first, 20 minutes, I think, they already state what the outcome of that is. So there is no tension in there. There's tension with the bomb. There's tension, especially with the scene of him doing the speech, and then you see the ramifications of him thinking about what the bomb did to people. That is a great sequence. But once we get after that and we get into there, I'm not saying Robert Downey Jr., that storyline doesn't have a payoff or anything like that, or the final, the final minute of this movie is an absolute mind blast of, oh, God. It definitely left me in the theater sort of it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to handle and to deal with. So I would put this under great, and again, for a time, it was under amazing, but the more I've stuck on it, the more that final third really just kind of squandered the film for me.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's just a lot. To me, it feels like that final third, or the sequence with the mock trial, just felt like repeated information we already had or wasn't done, where the rest of the film was adding up. I felt like that wasn't necessarily helping it out.
Would it be okay if I argued mid?
I would definitely say the filmmaking in this is way better than mid. I would argue it's a great film, but I would say that it's that the final third is probably the biggest issue. But I wouldn't. The filmmaking involved and everything, I wouldn't bring it down more.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Movies in the theater should not be longer than 2.5 hours. I'm just gonna put it out there. That was too long, and it had me a little bit messed up for the rest of the night and the next day.
For a good, a lot of films do that, and I think it's good. But I would put it under great. Next up, we have 65. This is a film. The best way to describe it would be The Last of Us, except 65 million years in the past, except with a guy from the future, and it's a human race that's in the future, or not in the future, but in I guess in other planets. One of their ships crash lands, and everyone dies except for Adam Driver's character and a girl who can't talk, or talks in another language. And he originally was going to kill himself, but then it's like, I need to save this girl, so I'm going to get him across. This seems like a good plot. The problem is it's very short. and it doesn't really have any emotional depth, and I thought the action sequences were okay. I didn't think it was very good. I thought that this movie tried to be The Last of Us, but I don't think it necessarily managed to be The Last of Us. So I'm going to put this under This Is Bad. What did you think of The Little Mermaid?
I liked it. I loved her acting. What was her name? I can't remember at the moment.
It's like Halle Berry, right? Haley Berry?
Haley Berry.
Halle Berry is the other person, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, I know her name is Haley. Yes. But I thought she did great on the acting. The story could have been done maybe a little bit better, but it still has emotional aspect to it.
To be credit where credit's due, the singing's great, and I thought the prince was a better prince than the original movie.
Honestly, yeah.
But I also think the king was worse. I think he was just I felt like he was very stone-walled. I don't think there was much, like he felt very wooden, like he didn't know, like I don't know if it was because it was not shot on a green screen or what, but I don't think a lot of the sequences worked. I thought Melissa McCarthy did very well.
Oh yeah, she was great.
I was shocked by how much I liked her. Look, some CGI can be hit and miss in this. I don't like a lot of Disney live action remakes. I think the better ones are the what's it called? Pete's Dragon. I think that one I really like. I like Cruella. But I like both those more than this because I think they either have more style or they have a better arc. Where would you put this? Good?
I would say good. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I thought it was fine, but I could see it being on good. Renfield. This movie should have been great. This movie has Nicolas Cage as Dracula, and you have Nicholas Hoult as a guy who's literally in an abusive relationship with Dracula. This should be amazing. It's rated R. It's bloody as hell. There's some really good sequences. Is it Awkwafina? No, wait. Awkwafina, I think? Yeah, she's in this movie as like a police detective. That's the issue. The whole plot line with the mafia and all this stuff, I just didn't care for. So I think there's a part of a good film in here, and part of it that's kind of more generic. Awkwafina wasn't bad. I just felt like that aspect just didn't fit well, especially because it's like you have this like amazing over-the-top action sequence and others, and everyone just takes it face value. It's like there's a man jumping around like literally punching people, and they're like spines are flying out. And like you see like X-rays of stuff, and it's just everyone's like, oh, well that was weird. And they know there's like mystical and like Dracula's around stuff. The practical effects on Dracula are really good. And again, I feel like they nailed the abusive relationship thing. I just don't think it quite nailed. I would put it under kind of mid. What I can't say is bad is Missing. We saw this, right? Because my brother and I saw Searching when it came out.
Yes.
Did you watch Searching?
I believe I have, but I don't remember too much about it.
I'll be very frank. It's very similar to Searching. There's not a ton of new sort of areas they expand in the technique they show this film, because the entire film is based on a computer screen. Or like it could be on a screen. So how it's done, I thought it was very well. And I liked the mystery aspect. I thought that was actually had some good layers. Maybe goes a little over the top toward the end. But I overall thought that the main girl in this, who, unless I'm mistaken, is the same girl from The Last of Us. She plays the girlfriend character. I'm 90% sure from the she doesn't play the daughter. She plays the girlfriend in the Left Behind, the 7th episode with the mall.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but I thought she did a really good job with that role and getting that sort of dynamic of where's my mom, like what's happening here.
It was pretty good. I like the story.
And I also like the subversion, because I genuinely thought that I started liking a character, and I kind of doubted what the movie was telling me, because I'm like, I know you're saying that he's bad, but he genuinely seems like a nice guy. And then it's sort of, I was waiting if they were going to take another twist, and they don't. It's like, oh no, he was genuinely a bad guy. It's like, oh. So I thought it was a really good. I thought it was really tense in some moments. Again, it's a weird film, because there's no other film I could think of like it that anyone else has made. It's either very high in the good tier or a low great.
Probably in the good tier.
Okay, that's fair. Extraction 2. We watched this. Chris Hemsworth leads an extraction team to get a woman and her children outside of a prison. There's an amazing one-shot in this. There is a really good fight sequence in a skyscraper. There's a more general action sequence toward the end with, I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel like you're escalating things. It just feels more just like, oh, we need to wrap this up sort of action. What is your thoughts on this?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Like you said, it's very generic. Very, like, even for me.
Yeah.
Even for me. Because of the action, would you put it good?
The action is so good that I'll be like, you have to. But kind of mid is equally good, equally bad. The action's great, most of it. But the problem is the story is generic and the characters are generic. So I think kind of mid kind of works.
Kind of.
But I think it's the highest mid because the action is so good. Like it's probably the second best set of action, maybe third with Mission Impossible of the year, especially with the one-shot sequence. So I would recommend it for that only. But again, expect a very generic, not really memorable story or characters. Now, speaking of memorable characters, is this the one?
Yes. So, yeah, Joyride.
The most forgettable name of the year for any movie, because I kept forgetting this movie. But I would tell people you need to see this movie, and they're like, "What movie?" And I'm like,
"I can't remember."
I don't remember it. I couldn't tell you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of walked in with low expectations.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I walked in. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a comedy, and it's supposed to be in the vein of something like was it Step Brothers or something like that. I'm like, okay, what? I'm fine with those movies, and they've never really hit me as much, just because of the fact like you have people acting like children, and for me, it's like that's not necessarily funny. It's funny when it's done in a more clever way. This, oh my god, I was on the fucking floor with this movie. I was shocked by how much I was laughing.
Yeah, I nonstop laughed the whole movie, and the actresses were fantastic. They are up and coming. These four actresses, they are up and coming for sure. One of them I saw on Broadway. Yeah. Once a few years ago, and I was not expecting how popular she was gonna be, but she, like I said, they all did great. Yeah.
Afterwards I'm like, what has this director done before? What? But like it was so good, and no one was talking about it. I'm like, what is happening? Like apparently it didn't do very well at the box office. Apparently, like again, a lot of people just kind of skipped it because they thought it would be very generic. Yeah. I'm like, easily for comedies, like out of like a bunch of other stuff, this is the funniest thing I've seen this year. It was like the whole payoff with the tattoo. I was not expecting how it's not just the payoff, it's how it's shot. That sells it. The camera, where the camera is placed. I'm like, wow. Because my thing is like, you have a raunchy comedy, and people say you can't make comedies because you can't push the envelope. This pushed the goddamn envelope because I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, but they did it in such
a clever way. Yeah. Because again, you could have been, you could have had something very generic that didn't, but this pushed the envelope as much as it possibly could. So I'm like, people say, oh, you can't make funny
that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Scream 6. I watched this because I'm like, oh, it could be good. Has some good comedic beats. Again, do you know the Scream series?
I've seen the first couple movies, yes.
Okay. So again, Scream, more comedic humor, but also mixed in with horror and tension. This is very bloody. There's some good tension. There's some good sequences in this for actually like, oh shoot, they are very much upping the ante. Just like any Scream, just like a lot of the Scream films, I did not guess the killers. They keep it very good at who the killer or killers actually is, and I'm like, okay, well played, because I'm like, I'll give credit, I nailed 2 of the killers. There are 3. I did not guess all 3, because I'm like, well, obviously it's this person because of X, it's this person because of X, I think it's this other person because of X. I was wrong. It was another person. I'm like, damn it. But I do feel like maybe a character should have died that didn't. I get there have been characters who survived being stabbed 30 times, that's fine, but I feel like the people involved would have made sure that person was dead. Again, I put it under good because I'm not the biggest horror guy, but I can respect this movie a lot for some of the sequences and stuff it does. But I wouldn't put it in great. I'm like, I enjoyed my time. It's probably one of the higher goods, but I would not necessarily watch it again. Mm-hmm. Movie I wouldn't watch again is Rebel Moon. This has interesting cinematography, and that's about it. It is incredibly generic. I tried to watch it. Similar to Army of the Dead, it's one of the movies that I tried to watch from Zack Snyder, and I should like this, especially because it's sci-fi and all this stuff, but nope, I just couldn't get involved. I just couldn't get interested in any of the characters. I thought it was super generic. I thought the slow-mo sequences were way too much or in the wrong spots for what the slow-mo was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Very generic characters. I'll put under this bad. The only thing that's keeping it from a void is I thought some of the effects in the cinematography were still very good, but I feel like Zack Snyder has done better. This felt more like a Sucker Punch rather than a Dawn of the Dead or a Zack Snyder's Justice League. The creator. I enjoyed the creator. You didn't watch Rebel Moon. That's why I'm skipping.
No.
The creator is one that we did watch together. I think. Did we?
I don't remember seeing that one either.
I saw it with 151, and I saw it with Roy. And were you?
It might have been just you guys because I don't remember this one.
The creator, it deals with like it's by Gareth Edwards. He did Godzilla 2014 and Rogue One. Just like I recently showed Godzilla 2014 to my girlfriend. It had great cinematography like Godzilla 2014. The characters were better, in my opinion. Like Bryan Cranston's character, I felt like they did it with the main lead, who is Denzel Washington's son. I thought he was very good in it. I thought the young kid actor, I'm like, the kid's fantastic. The problem is the first 2/3 again are really damn good, and there's also some very dark moments, but also some very funny moments. Mm-hmm. The American Army using suicide bombers and telling it is like one of the most like horrific yet hilarious moment in the entire movie, where you have this robot being like, "What is my purpose? Go!" And he's like, it's like, and literally the robot's like, "America," and starts running just like this, and the running sequence alone and just like this robot's attitude cracked me and my friends up so much. It's a robot destroying itself, but it made me laugh so hard because I'm like, oh, this is the American military using these. But yeah, no, the ending again felt a little bit rushed. I still liked it, and again, the effects are amazing for a mid-budget movie. This movie looked better than most big-budget movies. Mm-hmm. This is a hard. Like, I respect this movie, but I think there are other movies that had a goal and nailed it better. I still put it under good, but I could easily see people loving this movie a lot more than I did. Next up, The Flash. Did you watch The Flash?
I did not see the new one, no.
I saw it, and I'm a fan of at least the first few seasons of The Flash TV show, Justice League, all that stuff. Normally, the Flashpoint is a story in the comics. There is an animated movie that's actually really good. That's been memed to hell, but but again, the memes are great. So this movie had a high bar to hit. It hit that in how bad certain aspects of this film. Once you get through the first act, the plot starts devolving because it's like, wait a second, if this person then goes back in time again, shouldn't there be another Flash? No, apparently that's not a thing. They break their own rules. Then they also have this very convoluted thing. Also, I hate this movie because not only are the effects god-awful, they brought back dead actors to showcase it. I'm not... Yeah, there is... The original Superman, Christopher Reeves, is in this movie as a CGI double. And if I told you the CGI looks worse than the video games downstairs, it looks and I'm not joking. This is the worst CGI I've seen in a movie in, probably 20 years. So there's a sequence where he's going back in time and you have this bubble, right? And it's like all these like layers upon layers, but they're not rendering, that's supposed to be Henry Cavill, and it's like, what is that shot? That's Jason Momoa. What is that? What is that? So yeah, he's going through and he's in his zone.
Oh my god!
It looks like something like a doll that they
Exactly.
just scanned and put in the movie, like one of those fake dolls. He saves the kid by putting the kid in a microwave, which again
That's
is like
reasonable.
yeah. This is okay. So they're bringing in like different worlds from different movies. So like you have different Flash characters and different like Supermen. So you have like Christopher Reeve's Superman here, and then do they have Supergirl? They don't show Supergirl, but their Supergirl shows up from the 70s, and she looks horrible. And yeah,
And Nicolas Cage.
there's Nicolas Cage. Yeah, it's truly god awful. Fine, there's a decent emotional movie at the end, but then it doesn't make sense because like you cannot change the past to save the future, right? You cannot save your mom, but you can still save your mom. You can still change the You can still change the future by moving a can, like butterfly effect. You can do another butterfly effect, and it's totally fine. So it contradicts the story it's already doing. Beyond the whole stuff outside the movie, this movie is a nightmare. I think it's so bad that I would recommend people watching it because it's so cringeworthy, but that's not necessarily a good thing. With that whole tangent out of the way, let's go into The Iron Claw, which is, again, another amazing movie my girlfriend took me to before it got released, and literally brought me to the verge of, like, depression. Thank you.
Yeah, always make friends with your local PR firm.
This movie, I was not expecting to be as great as it was. Zac Efron is incredible in this movie. I had no idea about the story about the Von Erichs, but I hate their father, and I understand everything that went through them as a repercussion. It's unfortunate. But I thought the whole story and how it was displayed and done was super emotional, super resonating. I really enjoyed it. What'd you think?
Well, it just made me mad and wanted to call Child Protective Services on a family from like this, what was it, 60s, 70s?
It was in the it started in the 50s,
Okay.
I think, with the father. I
Yeah.
think it was late 50s, early 60s, but then it like pushed to the 80s and
Yeah.
early 90s.
Well, I definitely wanted to call Child Protective Services on something that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But these movies about these families, like, kind of biographical, are really good. And the way Zac Efron was great. And it took him away from, like, Troy Bolton from High School Musical. And just, he's grown up, mature, and playing these roles like a champ.
Where would you place it? Because this movie leaves you, like, gut punched by the end. But I thought
That's why I said angry.
Angry, but I still felt good for at least the main character at least getting through it. And you understand why he gets through this situation where maybe his brothers did not.
Yeah. I might put it as great. What do you think?
I will put under great. Almost amazing. Because
Yeah.
I would probably recommend this film to
Okay.
others. Another film I'd recommend that I was not expecting much. I was like, oh, cool, the animation's gonna be good, but also really funny and really touching, and also a great villain. TMNT movie, Mutant Mayhem. I thought this was super fun. I thought again, another anime movie that just was like punching way above its weight. I thought the they all felt like teenagers. Jackie Chan I thought was really good as like the mentor. I know people are like, but he only taught them because he watched VHSs of stuff. I'm like, okay. They're mutant turtles. It doesn't really, you don't need to push it that hard in that aspect. Sure, maybe with the whole Shredder side of it, but again, you have no idea what they're doing with Shredder. But I thought with the emotional stuff they did with Superfly, I thought that was actually like a pretty good story, and also a good father-son's relationship. I really enjoyed it. I loved also how disgusting this movie is. This movie is very disgusting, but in like the best way for a kid's film that isn't like poop and fart jokes. It's actually like kind of weird with the animation and disgusting by the human faces and all this stuff, but it looks like something that you would see in like the best way to put it would be like some middle school artist of like every rendition of somebody, but it works in the best way.
Honestly, it might be great. Right?
Yeah, I might put in great. Now here comes the fun part.
Ugh.
This is where we organize the movies, right? And I think we each have a veto, right? So
Yeah,
we each
have
can
one.
move a movie without the other interfering. So avoid. I would put No One Will Save You ahead. I think The Black Demon's probably the worst film I saw. Okay. Now, this is bad. I think this is hilariously bad because I think you can have a good time. So I would put this into... I would put this at the top of This Is Bad because I would recommend it to people. Where I think you would put probably...
Yeah, that
is hilariously bad.
I feel like cringe, yes.
Cocaine Bear, I would also, because there's some good funny moments. Rebel Moon I would probably keep in last.
Okay.
65 I think is generic enough. I would put at the bottom. I think Fast X is slightly about there. Yeah. I did not like that movie. Now, Your Place or Mine, where would you plan to move it?
I think it's in its place. It's okay.
Okay. That's fair. All right. So kind of mid. I think the action sequence of Extraction, keep it above. And I actually kind of like where Renfield is, but I think Asteroid City maybe does more.
Oh, wow.
Transformers, I think is generic enough where I'm kind of good to keep it there.
Okay.
What about, do you want to move Shotgun Wedding up or Zoe 102?
I don't know. Part of me, I think somehow Zoe 102 was better because I don't, it makes room for a second part to it. You would put it in front of Transformers?
Would you put it in front of Transformers? I'm like you, being like, would you say it's...
I don't... Well, I haven't seen Transformers, but I can't imagine Zoe 102 being better than that.
Okay, that's fair.
I can't imagine,
so we'll
imagine that.
Then we'll keep it here.
Okay.
All right, so good. The creator, I think, has high ambition, but I also think The Color Purple has a lot of it too, so I'd put it up there. I think Color Purple maybe nailed its story more.
Yeah.
It did take from it, come from a book and also take from the other movie. Missing, I think, is so unique in how it's done. I think it does better with its overall thing. Same thing with Scream, but I think Scream has a couple missteps. Anyway, now here's my Bar Mitzvah though I thought was really funny and did exactly what it needed to. Creed I thought was really good.
Creed, I think, should go before Bar Mitzvah.
Before Bar Mitzvah. Okay, that's fair. Love in Taipei, where would you put it?
You didn't you needed to move one more then.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, I thought you meant before. Okay, I see. Like this?
Oh, well, yeah.
Or this?
Actually, no, switch it back. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where'd you put Love in Taipei? For me, I don't have much to this, so where would you put it? Do you think it's better than Creed or the Bar Mitzvah movie?
No.
Okay, then I'll keep it there.
Okay.
Little Mermaid, where would you put? Do you think it was better than the Bar Mitzvah movie?
I'd probably put it in between the Bar Mitzvah movie and Taipei.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Because again, I don't have much attachment to Scream. I'm like, that's a fine horror film, but I'm not gonna argue or anything. All right. We still have vetoes. This is where things can be a little bit more interesting. All right. So Holdovers, I really enjoyed it, but I could see that being lower.
Yeah.
Iron Claw is something I think is great, but I would move that down. I think Mission Impossible might be weaker than Holdovers for me because I love the characters in that more so than Mission Impossible. Okay. Iron Claw, I like more. I had more emotional gut punch than the Holdovers.
Yeah.
Air, I really enjoyed.
I think it should be higher on the list.
That's why I'm moving. Guardians, I would probably put that behind the Iron Claw, but ahead of Holdovers.
Okay.
Super Mario's, where would you put that between this?
Well, I would put it after Air.
Oh, okay. What about Element?
No. After Air.
Oh,
I like
okay.
that. Sorry.
You would put it higher than the Iron Claw.
Actually, no. Maybe, yeah.
Like that?
Okay, that's better.
Yeah. I'm just kind of moving down the list. Elemental, you like that more.
I really liked it.
I don't have much. I'm not gonna pull it down. Okay. John Wick, I loved this, and I thought it was such a good emotional ending that I will keep it higher if that's all right. TMNT, I'll move down. I don't think it's necessarily as good as Super Mario, but I thought the emotional stuff was maybe. I would put it like here.
Okay.
And then where would you place Oppenheimer? Is this where you use your veto?
You know what? He might just stay in that.
You can move it to, if you want to use a veto and move it to where you want, you can use it.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I don't want to make people mad.
This is our list. You do what you want to do.
Okay, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna move it to the end of this list.
You move it to the end of the list. Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's fair. People are screaming, "How dare you move Oppenheimer?"
Yes, I'm gonna get all the notes.
All right. So we're not moving these two because they're our favorites. They're equal in our opinions.
Yeah.
I did say we would only have 4 amazing films.
Shoot.
So one of them has to come down.
Would you be mad if I said Dungeons and Dragons?
I will gladly put Dungeons & Dragons down, and I will keep it above.
Okay, that works.
Yes.
That works. Oh.
And then we will go with Spider-Man.
I'm sorry, Barbie before Spider-Man, though.
So like this?
Mm.
Oh, wait, you put Barbie ahead of Spider-Man.
Yes. You're going to use your veto.
I will use my well, it depends. Okay. What about Wonka? I think Nimona's the weakest one out of this.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I would put Wonka next.
Okay.
And then I will use my veto on Barbie here.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
I'll take.
Okay, I'll be honest. We don't necessarily have to have. I mean, I'm looking at this. We can move a movie up. If we'll keep 5 is fine because I'm looking at here. We have 2, 4, 5. Yeah, wait, 2, 4, 5. Wait, I'm sorry, I can't do math. We have 5 here, 5 here. That's 10. That's 5, 2. That's fair.
Okay.
I think that's fine. Where would you put Dungeons and Dragons?
On that list specifically?
Yes. Would you keep it here? Or would you move it up?
Maybe ahead of Nimona. Or what would you think?
I think Dungeons and Dragons is probably more put together. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So, there we go. With our convoluted. Oh wait, you still have 1 veto.
No, I used it on Oppenheimer, didn't I?
Oh, okay.
I just put it down because you used it. Barbie was already on that list and you used it, so it's only fair.
All right, there we go. That's our list of our favorite films of 2023. What do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Thank you once again, Allison, for helping me with this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure no one will have any comments about you at all down below. I'm sure everything will be fine. I'm sure we'll be respectful with all movie choices. And again, if I missed a movie this year, hey, it happens. I'm honestly going to probably be cutting back on films in 2024 so I can focus on other stuff. But let me know what you guys think. This has been Greyshot17.
And Allison.
And we'll see you all next time.
Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17, and before y'all go, let me give a special shout out to Patreon supporters Joey G240, Milam, Big Cooch, Aphyria, Ace, Pyro Shark, Tonybee 95, Epic Pleb. Thank you all for your incredible support in helping me grow my channel and support my channel and everything I do. Thank you, and to the rest of you, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.